seen those amazing post-grooming photo shoots that everybody seems to have on social media lately? Have you ever wondered how the heck are they making those? Are they setting up multiple different photo shoot backgrounds and then just taking pictures and photoshopping them? The answer is no. And actually, it's a lot easier than that and a lot easier than you might think. I'm going to walk you through step by step on how to use the app PhotoRoom to recreate these stunning photos. And in turn, it's going to elevate your grooming services. We're going to go over what the free options are, the limitations, the features. Same thing with the Pro version. We're going to look at what that one offers and the features and limitations to the Pro version as well. Okay, obviously, first step is to take a picture of your finished dog. I usually take about 1,000 because dogs are notoriously hard to photograph. Just kidding, but not really. Alright, so super easy. First thing you're going to do after you have the picture of your dog is you're going to open up your app. At the bottom of the screen, you want to click on the Start from Photo tab. This will open up your photo roll on your phone. If it's your first time using the app, you're likely going to need to give permission, so go ahead and do that if you haven't already. I'm going to start with the easiest options and work my way through to the harder ones. So stick around because it gets quite cool with what you can do with this app and the advanced features. So once you select the picture of the dog that you want, more than likely the app will cut out your dog pretty much on the first go. It's pretty intuitive and it's pretty good at figuring out what you want versus what you don't want. If for some reason it has cut off part of the dog or maybe got an extra piece of the background in that you don't want, it's pretty easy to fix that. You're going to hit cutout at the top and then you're going to use either the erase or the restore tool to try and get the cutout exactly right. So it's simple, select either the erase or the restore and then select what it is you're trying to erase or restore. As easy as it sounds. You can zoom in if necessary if you're looking for a minor detail. Just use your fingers to zoom in by pinching or expanding your fingers to zoom out. There is also an undo button, which comes quite in handy, and a redo button as well if you accidentally undo something that you didn't mean to do. I use the undo button a lot actually because sometimes when I'm on erase, I meant to be in restore, or vice versa, I'm on restore and meant to erase something. So it's nice you can hit the undo button if you make a mistake like that and then click on the correct option, whether you meant to do erase or restore, and then do it that way. So it comes in super handy, trust me, you will use them. Alright, so let's assume right now you are happy with your cutout. You'll hit done at the top of the right hand side. Now this is going to bring you back to the home screen. But now instead of being blank, it's going to have your cutout dog at the top. Now if you're on the free version, you can scroll down and look at all the available options for backgrounds. They usually do have a selection for holidays, so since it is currently Christmas as I am filming this, I will show you how some of those options work. It's pretty simple. You scroll through the options and select the ones that you like. Once it loads, your cutout of your dog will appear, and now you can start to place it where you would like it and where you think it would look best. Now you can resize it by doing the same thing as the cutout stage and press 2 fingers on the screen to expand or contract to either zoom in or zoom out, or you can rotate that way as well depending on how your picture looks. You can also add a shadow, and there's various options for shadows, and you can even hit the move button and place it kind of where you want as well. So if shadows are falling in a certain direction already in your picture, you can make your dog's shadow fall in the same direction. You can add an outline if necessary, just a nice fun addition if you're doing something a little bit more creative. Also adjust your photo as well, so you can do things like increase or decrease the brightness, the shadows, the highlights, the contrast. You can even change the hue, but we're going to play more with that a little bit later on. You can move the background as well. If you click it, you can expand it and move it around. Then when you're finished, you can export the picture and it will save right to your camera roll. Alright, let's get a little bit more complicated. Now say you look at these backgrounds and you think to yourself, I hate these look terrible. They're cheesy, whatever. I don't think they're bad, but maybe they're not your cup of tea. Well, here's what you can do. You can find or make your own background to put the dog into. So obviously if you type into Google Christmas photo background or backdrop or something along those lines, it's going to yield you quite a few results. A lot of these are probably going to be watermarked, and there's going to be some that aren't, and I would say use at caution with these ones. I'm sure they're still copyrighted, so you know, I'm not advocating for stealing, but it is an option. If you do find a copyright-free version of a photo backdrop that you like, you can use it. You can also use the copyright one, but just use at your own discretion. It would be weird to come after a small grooming business, but you know, you never know. Figured I'd just let you know the pitfalls of going this route. But you can do it. You can add in any background that you want, even ones with watermarks. So let's say you want to avoid copyright, or maybe you just hate every background that you found on Google and you want to create your own. You can actually use programs that do digital AI creation for pictures. I believe, don't quote me on this, that ChatGPT does have an option as well for photo creation. So you can go ahead and use those programs as well to create backgrounds. Technically, you can use the paid version of PhotoRoom to actually create these backgrounds as well, but I'm going to touch more on how to do that later. But as far as I know, there's plenty of free options out there as well for digital AI photo creation. And these programs usually create photos by inserting prompts, so I'll give you some examples. You would type in something like Christmas-themed cabin with wooden floors and walls, lots of Christmas decorations everywhere. Then it's going to generate an image for you based off of that prompt. Now let's assume you did this, or you found one on Google you like. Either way, you have a photo saved that you like as a backdrop for your picture. So now we want to put the dog into it. You're going to go through the same motions. Hit the start from photo, select the picture of the dog that you want to add in, do any of the cutouts if necessary, if it needs it, you know, any tweaking, now's the time. Then you're going to scroll down to social. That's the one I like to use because it gives you a lot of different types of background depending on where you're posting it. I also use that one because I keep all of my photos in the square shape, as I like this for my aesthetic on Instagram, and I just like to keep it really cohesive. But even if you change your mind after picking the shape that you want, you can always change it later on as well. Like, for example, maybe if the background that you saved from the internet is a square shape, but you selected rectangular, and then you need to change it to be a square shape in order to make that background fit, you can always tweak it after you've gone in. Like, it's not a big deal. So anyways, pick the shape and the size that you want from the social category. So I'm going to go in with the square, which is otherwise called Instagram post, since that is my go-to. It's going to bring you to a blank background with your cutout. You can hit resize in the bottom right-hand corner if you need to, and that's when you can change the ratio and the size to be more specific to the background that you selected or the type of social media that you're using. Whatever that change may be, this is how you actually change that background. Once you're happy and you have your dog and your background size, select the background by tapping on it. On the bottom left, it's going to pop up with an option that says change background. Once you give that, it's going to give you some options. You could go straight to color if you want, but that's not as fun. But it's there if you want to. Maybe for Christmas you just want red or green backgrounds. That's where you can do that. You're also going to avoid AI backgrounds since that is only for the Pro, which is the paid for version. So what you want to hit under these circumstances, image, and it's going to bring up your photo library under latest from camera roll. Again, don't hit generate with AI, that is the Pro feature, same as before. If the background that you saved is further back in your camera roll, you can scroll all the way to the right and eventually it will give you a button that says see all. So once you have your picture either from see all or just on the latest screen, select it by tapping it. It may need some resizing, so you can either expand or shrink in the same way as the dog. Tap on the object to resize it, and then expand or contract 2 fingers to pull it wider or make it smaller. Once you're happy with the position and the size of your background and your dog, you can do things like add in a shadow to the dog to make it seem a little bit more realistic, change brightness or hues, all that kind of stuff. Basically, play around until you're happy. Once you like the picture, same as before, you're going to tap on the right hand corner at the top, and that's going to export that picture to your camera roll. Okay, let's get a little bit more advanced in what you can do with the free settings before we get into the pro features. And this is a really fun technique. So this is going to involve a couple of aspects. So I'm going to show you on what to do with kind of glass situations, whether that's really popular right now, which is snow globes or glass ornaments hanging on trees for Christmas. And I'm going to show you a similar technique for things that you might want your dog to be sitting in. So again, it's Christmas, so things like sleighs or other objects like dog beds to put them inside of. And I'm going to start with the thing that they're sitting in first before we get into things like the glass ornaments or the snow globes, because it's almost the same with just a tiny extra step. So for this first example, I'm going to use a sleigh. So we have a picture of a sleigh and we want to put the dog inside the sleigh. So the picture that you have, again, maybe it's from the internet, maybe it's generated through AI, but you have a picture of a backdrop with a sleigh in it. So the first step is to start with a photo. You're going to get the picture of the dog that you want properly cut out, and then you're going to add in the background like we talked about before. So again, you're going to select image off the background and add in the picture of the sleigh background. So exact same steps as before. But now we have a picture of a sleigh and your dog kind of like sitting in front of it, not really inside of it. It's just kind of on top of it, if that makes sense. But here's what you want to do. You're going to hit the little plus button that says insert. Then you are going to select the same picture that you used as your background. So in this example, it was the picture of the sleigh. Select it, and then the image is going to be automatically cut out, similar to like what happens with your dog. But we can't really put the entire sleigh over top because it's going to cover our dog. So you need to select just the inserted sleigh cutout after it's been added. Once you have it selected, hit Edit Cutout, and then you're going to use the Erase and Restore options to select just the one side of the sleigh. So anything that needs to be in front of the dog. On mine, this was one side of the sleigh plus a little bit of extra blanket. And once you're happy, bear in mind that you can go back and keep editing if you didn't get it exactly right. And then you're going to resize it to fit exactly over top. And you can always change your dog's position as well if you want to add in more or different objects under the layers. You can kind of move them up or down. So if I wanted to add in, let's say, a second dog, it's going to put the second dog over top of the added sleigh cutout. So just the one side of the sleigh cutout. So you can actually move the dog behind the sleigh cutout by going into layers and dragging the second dog underneath. And voila! So as I mentioned, we're going to take this one step farther with a globe or a Christmas tree ornament. Okay, I'm going to use the globe as my example. So same thing, add my dog, add the globe background. Now let's fix it up. First, I placed my dog, but again, he kind of looks like he's just kind of added on top. So in this example, I actually need to add snow around his feet. So let's do that. Same as the sleigh, I'm going to use the cutout feature to grab just the bottom of the snow in the snow globe to cover his feet and make him look like he's kind of sitting in the snow. So I actually am going to resize it to be a little bit smaller than the snow that's already there to cover up more of the front feet than the back. But play around with the different sizes, kind of make it look however you think is going to be best. Once you're happy with that, now you're going to add in the same picture of the background again as a cutout. But this time I'm grabbing the entire glass part only, so just the circular ball part of the snow globe. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to line it up with the other ball. But here's the difference, because obviously now it's just covering the whole dog. We don't want that. We want to see through it. So now you're going to scroll down to adjust. You're going to select opacity, and then you're going to slide the scale down until you're happy. And what this is going to do is it's going to add the effect of glass over top of the dog, along with any of the falling snow from the snow globe is going to kind of be on top but see-through. So essentially it's going to be there without being overly obstructive, and it's not going to look like a flat image of a dog on top of a snow globe. And that's it. Super easy, right? But let's get into some of the fun things that you can do with the paid version. First off, you're going to start with a picture as per usual. But what you're going to do now is not select a background size. Instead, you're going to hit AI backgrounds. Now it's quite easy and it's going to give you options that are going to automatically pop up. And some of the options are going to be holiday related like Christmas. So you can automatically hit the Christmas option and load up the backgrounds from there. And it's going to load about 4 at a time this way, and you can generate more if you didn't really like those ones. And you can keep going until you find one that you do like. The preloaded AI backgrounds are pretty intuitive, and I think they're quite nice, but let's say you've gone through them all and you kind of think, these aren't really my taste. Well, there is another option for you. And it's where you can really start to play around with things. So same thing as before, load up a picture, then hit AI background. And then you can hit create a background at the bottom of the screen. Then in the box, you can describe the background you're looking for. So I'm going to give you a couple of examples of things that you can put in to give you some ideas. So you can write in object in a snowy forest with branches that overhang to form an arc with twinkling lights. And then hit the button and see what that generates. Or another example, maybe you want to put subject on a pink background with snowflakes and twinkly lights. Then you can scroll through and see if that's more up your alley. Or you could do something like traditional Christmas tree by fireplace scenes, bokeh lights in background. I hope I'm saying bokeh right. I know what it comes up with, but I don't know how to say it. If you want to make it even more detailed, you can actually go back and add in things like maybe I want to write in everything says traditional red and green Christmas at home, and see if that maybe generates some more interesting images and backgrounds that I think are better for what I'm going for. And if you need help with prompts, ChatGPT actually can be super helpful for this. I think it's because it's an AI, kind of speaking AI language. You can ask ChatGPT to give you some good prompts for PhotoRoom. Sometimes you do need to play around with wording to get exactly what you're looking for. Now this next route is kind of a two-pronged situation. So I need to show you the first part of the prong to get to the second. The first part of the prong is what we talked about earlier, which is AI image generation. Now, this works very similarly to the background creation, as in basically you need to describe what you're looking for. But let's get you there first. When you first open the app, instead of adding in your dog like usual, when you hit the start from photo option, for AI image creation, you're actually going to hit the generate image with AI instead of scrolling down to the camera roll or hitting the camera roll button. So once you hit that button, it's going to give you a lot of options. Now, all these different options are really helpful and can be amazing tools if you need a logo or a poster or postcards for your business. You can actually use these to generate some really amazing things. But for backgrounds, I would just stick with the background option. You can also go straight to create any image at the bottom if you want to play around with it a bit, but backgrounds is going to be your best bet for not including like excess humans or things like that. Sometimes it adds in extra dogs, so yeah, if you want just a straight background, nothing in it like people, then you just want to go to the background option. Otherwise, you're going to have to, through text, tell PhotoRoom that you don't want those things, so it's just easier to select the background instead of trying to get PhotoRoom through prompts to not add people in. And sometimes those people are like super creepy, by the way. Like, there's like an entire Facebook group dedicated to it. It's pretty funny. But anyways, you're going to hit the backgrounds and change the size and style at the bottom if you want. My tip is to actually go in and change diversity. That just kind of gives you like random style backgrounds. So it'll give you 4 probably different styles of backgrounds. But I would change that to be ultra realistic. But again, it's not an absolute in terms of necessity. It's just generally what I prefer and what I think looks best. So once you do that, describe the background you're looking for. So same route as we did, you can really get very descriptive if you want. You can create the images like we worked with before, like the snow globes or the sleighs, whatever you want really. Then you can use that image in the same way you did as the free version by adding in the dog over top after you save the image. But here's the second prong to this route. So you have your AI generated background, or you can still use an image taken from Google. Either way, you have a background that you really like, but maybe you think it looks a little bit odd placing your dog just in front of it. So we are going to generate backgrounds based off of the image that you like. So same thing, you want to grab an image of a dog that you want to use, generate the cutout, hit the AI backgrounds option, and then when you're ready, you're going to hit create a background. Now, instead of writing anything in the text box like we did before, that's going to describe a background, we're going to skip that and you're going to go to where the images kind of pop up along the bottom here. And I want you to scroll all the way to the right, and this is going to bring up an arrow that says see all. Click that. Then tap the plus button that says add your own. Then select the AI background that you generated or the saved image from Google that you liked. Once selected, it will pop up with the background generated around your dog. Now, if you want, you can click the button on the bottom that currently says 100% inspiration and slide it to be less if you kind of want to play around with it. You can also tap that button if you want to change your background. So just tap on the picture of the background that aptly says change, and it will bring you back to the screen where you can tap add your own, and it will bring you back to your camera roll. Bear in mind, this will only generate similar backgrounds, and it has a difficult time generating people or people-like objects like nutcrackers, for example. Generally, it will just skip over those aspects, but if it does generate it, it's probably going to be super weird. So stick with more of a plain background if you can. Honestly, the less elaborate, the better. Ones with a lot of stuff happening can sometimes look a little bit strange, but it's a nice way to use the inspiration picture to kind of wrap around the image of your dog and make it look a little bit more cohesive. Like it's more in the environment as opposed to just sitting on top of it. Plus, the slight variation is nice because no two pictures are going to be identical, and no other grooming shops would have the same one, so it can be rather distinct as well. So obviously this is great for marketing and makes a great gift for clients. One of the most important parts of grooming during the holiday season is having a festive scent. And I've ranked the best ones by scent category in this video right here to help you pick your next favorite.